alongside him, David Munoz and Colin Fire, but no one has really been able to get grips with Alonso's pace in the wet or the dry this week, and even in the intermediate conditions for qualifying. And those conditions meant we had some surprises. Most importantly, Daniel Gardo, your championship leader, by 2 points from Alonso, starts 18th after a really heavy crash. If you watched MotoGP Sprint and you saw the riders going out at turn 5, he did the same before them during qualifying. He looked really beaten up. He's on the grid. It looks okay, but you can imagine he'll be feeling a little bit second-hand. 26 riders are out there, and although it is bright and sunny, temperatures around about 20 degrees Celsius, track temperatures climbing up towards the 30-degree mark, they still have to be watchful. The riders have been warned by IRTA, the International Racing Teams Association, about the track conditions. Michael, as a team owner, you've got two of your boys out there. Scott Ogden starts in 13th, Josh Watley 22nd. I bet you've had a word with them already today, haven't you? Because this track can bite, as we saw in MotoGP.
Yeah, obviously we witnessed the rarity of the best riders in the world getting caught out by unforeseen circumstances. Although, when you come here in pre-season testing in the winter, this happens quite often. Up here where we're coming into turn 5, it gets blocked a little bit, the sunlight from the outside. It always takes a little bit of time to dry, but then those weepers continue throughout a 3-day test. Perhaps we've seen it yesterday where the track conditions changed in the middle of the race. You have to be careful in the complex section, turns 9 and 10, and then the last corner. It's always been the same. So yeah, it's nice to just be reminded on the grid. Be mindful on the sight lap, just take a look. They have been out there trying to dry it. But yeah, they have blowers and things on it. I know people have said before, why don't they do like IndyCar or whatever? They have. They've been doing it, but it's seeping up through. That's another one there at turn 8. We saw Di Gian Antonio go down in the MotoGP warm-up here as well in turn 9. Look at the middle part of the racetrack. And if you're crossing across that line, Michael, like you probably will at some point in Moto3, just be careful about braking. Yeah, it's not too bad when it's upright braking, but it is whenever you go to lean angle, you'd see the slightest little patch. It's smaller than it was yesterday when Marc Marquez lost the front there in the middle of turn 9.
Yeah, even coming out of turn 10. My other question I've got for you at the start of this 19-lap race is about tyres, because David Alonso, we've seen a couple of times this year his tyre go off a little bit. We've also seen the rookies race this morning. Marco Morelli, your rider from the European Talent Cup, who won yesterday, he dropped back late on. What about the Pirelli tyres, cooler conditions?
Exactly, a worry for all the teams. It seems like the majority have gone for the SC2, the harder option rear, because of the wear that is anticipated on the soft option. The Leopard boys have both opted for the SC1, the soft, as is Ryusa Yamanaka. A few of the other Honda riders down the grid, Furusato. There's not many, Boisri, so it is predominantly SC2 front and rear with a few exceptions. So yeah, everyone worried about the tyre wear here in Moto3 today.
Pedro Costa watching on. Only 3 years ago he was riding in this class, let's not forget, as Joel Kelso is the last to join the grid. We're ready to go with the Moto3 Grand Prix of Spain. The flags are taken away. 19 laps of the Angel Nieto track. We're ready to go racing. We're underway, and it's a good start from David Munoz on the number 64. He gets alongside Alonso up towards turn 1. Munoz will have the inside line, and he pulls right across the track in front of David Alonso. Alonso forced to roll out of it, but Munoz going to take charge of this race. That was an aggressive start from the local lad. He's from nearby up towards Seville, and Munoz takes over Alonso in second place, and it looks like Joel Esteban has got a great start. He's up into third.
David Munoz, he never surprises. He wanted to lead into turn 1. He tried to cut off the nose. He got a good jump, and then immediately he's just swept back across for the right braking mark into turn 1 and just bashed his biggest rival out of the way.
Be mindful of turn 5, Sito Pons corner. Ivan Ortola, I was just keeping an eye on him further back. He's making progress, but Yusei Yamanaka is his teammate, who's up into third place now. Colin Fire coming through. We heard from him on the grid. He goes fourth, but David Alonso at the front, so strong on the brakes, so strong all weekend. He takes charge of the race through Dani Pedrosa corner.
He sounded nervous on the grid, but he knows he's got the pace to break away. Munoz couldn't quite hang with him throughout practice. We've seen Alonso just set such fast rhythm, so right now he knows he needs to get back in front because they're already stretching out on Yamanaka in third.
Yeah, he's trying to check out here, David Alonso. This was the plan, no doubt about it, and I suppose that was that. You know, he's still a young lad, only just turned 18 this week on Thursday, and it will have been get to the front and pull away. But it's easier said than done when you've got people like David Munoz wiping your nose as you go towards turn one. Anyway, Alonso's at the front. Can he pull away from the rest? We need Munoz to fire at him, to have a go. He's not going to be able to. Into Lorenzo corner. There's Joel Kelso. He's just got Esteban. It is Alonso who's gone down. And that is going to be turn 13. He's one of the worst places for the Weepers, and I don't believe it. Trying to check out, and David Alonso has crashed out of the lead.
Unfortunately, we've said it before, he still makes the odd mistake, so he's so fast, but we're going to see it here. Is it? It's a little bit of chatter. I thought it was going to be a wet patch, but the bumps, the ripples, look at the sparks coming off the machine. But yeah, it's a slight rookie error. It's not his rookie season, but a little bit overeager, wanted to make a break right from the outset and pushing too hard. You can see Nico Turrell, head in his hands, frustration, but he'll come back from there, so he hasn't lost too much time. He's 13 seconds down as he crossed the line. If the bike's not damaged, he'll get back in the points.
The exuberance of youth as David Alonso, knowing that this race was in the palm of his hands. He's at the front, and unfortunately it's all gone because he's crashed at the final corner. Big work to do now for him from 13 seconds back. I will say that he had about a second on the field yesterday. Oh, look at David Munoz having a moment. I'll remind other people that Brad Binder won here from the back of the grid, if you do remember, from a long way back. It's been done before. I'm not counting David Alonso out, matey.
No, not with the pace he's had this weekend. He's going to be fired up. As long as he can keep the red mist at bay, he should be able to come back, join the pack, and then work his way through, because all these riders right now, their approach to this race has just changed, because without Alonso, it's going to be a group race.
Colin Fire attacks through Alex Crivier corner, and Crivier would have been proud of that one. That is a really fast corner through there. Vaya takes over, the Dutchman leads because Munoz made a couple of mistakes on this lap. So it's Fire from Munoz. It's Ortola now who's up into third place with Ryusei Yamanaka in behind him. Joel Kelso in fifth. Joel Esteban is in sixth place. Championship leader Daniel Gardo down in 13th at the end of a very eventful 2 laps. Still 17 to go in Moto3.
Yeah, championship-wise, this is good for Ortola. He's a little bit adrift in terms of points, and he needs a little bit of misfortune for Holgado and Alonso. So right now, Alonso's got work to do. Holgado has the speed and the pace. He's in 12th at the moment, but he's only 2.2 seconds down on the leader at the head of the field. So he will get back into possibly this front group fight, as long as they don't get too detached off the back of Joel Esteban.
Well, we saw all the action at turn 5 yesterday, but Ivan Ortola's decided, yes, as good a corner as any to attack here in Moto3, and he's up into second place, past David Munoz. There'll be more action at the end of this back straight, very short back straight compared to the rest of the championship. 600 metres, about a third of a mile from start to finish into this hard-braking corner, Dani Pedrosa corner. And you wind up the wick through these fast left-handers, fourth gear corners in Moto3. Oh, little twitch for Ortola in the middle there. We've seen a lot of crashes there this weekend.
Yeah, it's one of those corners that front, when it gets away from you, there's no getting it back. So it is one that you have to be cautious. It's full gas on a Moto3 bike, so you can fairly well throw it in there with a careless abandon, but on a bigger bike you need to be a little bit more careful due to the weight transfer.
This front group of 6 just pulling a little bit. Nicola Carraro leading the charge, and I have to say Carraro's been strong this weekend. He's been part of the front group, so keep an eye on the MTA rider. I was chatting to Alessandro Tonucci this morning, and he had high hopes for Nicola's race today.
Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Carraro have this type of speed. He's got 1.1 seconds back off Joel Kelso. He's got his teammate Stefano Nepa. Hopefully they can work together. He's got it down to 0.9, so took 2/10 out in the final sector, working hard to get across.
Be interesting now as Ortola sets a new fastest lap of the race, a 1:45.3. That is quicker than the existing race lap record from Yamanaka last year. I want to see Alonso's time, because the gap was still 13 seconds at the end of that last lap. I wonder, yeah, he's done a 45.3, so he's basically identical pace to Ortola. But it does mean that he's not making up ground on them.
No, he's got some bikes in front. He'll get a good draft. I think Danny will be able to drag them across this gap. So, yeah, Sector 1, it's gone out a little bit, 1.3 seconds. So you need Holgado to get to the front of this group and drag them along. He's got the 2 Leopard machines behind him as well. They've both got the soft rear tyre on at this stage, so they should have a bit of grip at this moment.
Oh, David Munoz as well, left that one late, levelled Ivan Ortola, and goes up into second place. Wherever Munoz is, action is afoot.
Always full attack mode for David Munoz. He's he livens up the race, but I would not like to race him because you just know he's up your inside at any given opportunity.
I thought he was about to go here now into Nieto corner. All the elbows and knees of Ivan Ortola behind him, just dropping back into third place. Oh, Tatsu Suzuki's got a problem. So the Husqvarna Liquid Moly has had a really difficult start to the year. Fifth in the championship, but it just hasn't quite gone to plan yet. Oof, I'll tell you what, Suzuki puts his hand up in the air and just trying to avoid the riders. I actually thought he would have pulled to the left-hand side of the racetrack to do that, but anyway.
Yeah, it looks like his race is run, so not the start of the season that Tatsuki planned. Moving to the well, one of the leading teams in the field, the Intact GP Liquid Moly Husqvarna squad, but yeah, it's not clicked so far for Tatsuki.
Fastest rider on track is Joel Esteban, teammate to David Alonso. A lightning start from 8th on the grid, was up into 3rd place, but he is the fastest rider, a 45.1 from him. So with his teammate still at the back of the field, Esteban holding up the Aspar end through turn 4, heading up towards 5, the treacherous turn 5 that caught so many people out yesterday.
Yeah, on the onboard there, you see that it comes up on you pretty quick, but it doesn't look like there's any weepers in this moment in the day. So they've done a good job with cleaning up turn 5. Hopefully there's no more water brought to the surface.
What IRTA were telling people down on the grid is just keep an eye on it, because as we saw yesterday, they can get worse. And that sounds perverse. It hasn't rained since midday yesterday, and yet there's still the water can seep back up through the water tables, obviously high, or the drainage isn't great around some parts of this racetrack. Something they definitely have to look at. Tatsu Suzuki pulls back down into the pits as Vaya leads them through. He's just trying to stretch them at the front here, trying to make them work for it. I reckon we're going to have a tyre situation in this race, because you know, Jerez is all action. It is going to take its toll on these Pirellis.
It is a hard wearing surface, so it's quite abrasive. We know that Pirellis like a bit of sunshine and a well rubbered in track to manage the consumption. And rain yesterday, not a lot of rubber down, the cooler track conditions for sure. I think anyone who's on the soft rear will struggle in the latter laps, which at the moment it is only Yamanaka in this lead group who has opted for that soft rear tyre, so it will be a case of managing the harder one. Colin Fire being out front, he can control his rhythm. He's not attacking like Munoz behind, who's working the tyres hard as he attacks on the brakes and pushes it a little bit harder. So yeah, I think it's quite a clever tactic to control from the front.
Vaya on the 95 from Munoz, the 64, the bright yellow 64 bike, the blue. Behind him, Ivan Ortola. So you've got two Boe bikes in Munoz and Kelso, 2nd and 6th. The two MT Helmets bikes of Ortola and Yamanaka, they're in 3rd and 5th. In between them, Joel Esteban on the Aspar and the Liquid Moly Husqvarna, should I say, of Colin Fire out front. And just the beauty of Fire, you watch him throughout the weekend, and he's done all the work by himself. You see all the other riders looking for toes, waiting for others. He just went out there, didn't he, Fire, all weekend, and just rode by himself. Such maturity.
He's a clever rider, like David Alonso, always seems to find an opportunity or a little bit of clear track space, and then he focuses on his own rhythm, so that allows him to be out front without a marker chasing a wheel. So yeah, he's confident in his own ability to put it in the lap time needed to get through to Q2, and then in terms of qualifying, he puts it on the front row of the grid. Now he's in a position to lead and control the race. So yeah, very mature rider.
This front group are pulling all further away from that chasing pack. Nepa in 7th, Olgado in 8th. So Olgado won't be scoring big in Alonso's absence. David Alonso, meanwhile, has made it up to 22nd position and is lapping quicker than anybody else on the racetrack. A 45.127, quicker than the leaders, quicker than anyone in this front pack.
Yeah, not a lot though. He's obviously matching them more or less. I expected with the red mist he would be lapping even faster, but perhaps negotiating the overtakes that he has to pull off to get through the pack is costing him a little bit of time.
Just have a look from the helicopter shot, see those darker areas. There are some that are bits of asphalt that have been not relayed or patched up, but some of those are wet patches that you could see from that helicopter shot. So it is still something of an issue as Joel Esteban goes over the curbs at turn 4, but there's no penalty for that one. That isn't a track limits excursion, because it's deemed that you have actually lost time by going over the top of those very heavy heavily serrated curbs.
Yeah, you could see how it upset the bike. It did stop his forward momentum, so it's a natural penalty, which is much better than the track infringement that we have to deal with the green paint. So yeah, Jerez circuit obviously modified to fit those bigger curbs, and it seems to work for well, pretty much all classes.
David Alonso marching through even further now. He's up past Luca Lunetta. Next on his hit list will be Scott Ogden, who's in 19th place, just at the back of a pack led by Jacob Ralston in 14th. So once he gets across that gap, he's got 2.5 seconds to Ogden. Alonso with work to do, but should be very soon. And we are still only on lap 7 here of 19, and he'll be in the points. So he actually might not be losing out too much today. No, we'll see.
He realistically could get back to, say, the Group 4 7th. Yeah. So he could get back to his closest championship rival, Danny Holgado, who hasn't actually had the pace today. We thought he'll get to the head of the chase pack and he'll get across there, but he's still stuck in behind Stefano Nepa, so not quite showing the pace we expected from the championship leader.
He's got to be feeling a little bit second-hand as Ryusei Yamanaka goes past Esteban into 4th place. So with Ortola back into 2nd, Munoz in 3rd. Can this front trio pull away? There is, and we talked about Colin being wise beyond his years. He sounds like, even when he speaks to Natalie on the grid, an old head on young shoulders, Colin Fire. But he'll be doing the calculations, won't he, about what pace that he has to run. Some riders did put 15 laps or so on their tyres. He may well have been one of them. We don't necessarily have that information available to us. But he'll be thinking, won't he, dosing it out at the right times in this race.
Yeah, obviously will have watched the Red Bull rookies because he was a Red Bull rookie himself, so he'd be watching with a keen interest. They have switched to Pirelli tyres as well this year, and seen that Marco Morelli was up front, had a little bit of a gap, and I think overworked his tyre and actually got swallowed up in the last 3 laps. So yeah, it's important to control the tyre wear this year in Moto3. Not something the riders have had to think about in years gone by, so it's been a learning curve, and one that actually seemed to catch Colin out. He wasn't as strong in the opening rounds as I expected, given how he finished the 2023 season, but he's figured it out quick smart, and now he's looking back to the Colin we've seen who was battling with his teammate Ayumu Sasaki for victories last year.
Yeah, it's got its pros and cons, hasn't it? Because clearly some people are getting on better with the tyres, and it's stretching these Moto3 races out more than we've known them recently, when we've had packs of 18 or so. In some ways, obviously that's not great in terms of the entertainment value. It's still going to be entertaining, this race, don't get me wrong, but I actually think safety-wise and you know, learning-wise for these riders, I think it's probably a good thing too.
Exactly. I know we love the 20 bike battles that we've seen at times in Moto3, but actually in terms of safety, just taking the groups down a little bit. Oh, this is a big one from Joel Esteban. We've seen him a few times on these big serrations on the curbs.
Look at how it affects the bikes, these little bikes. You see the front, if you could just see his triple clamp up top, it was vibrating so much as he went across those huge serrations.
Fastest lap of the race for Ryusei Yamanaka the last time around, and it just put a little bit of daylight between him and Joel Esteban. So Esteban struggling a little bit, as is Joel Kelso. So Kelso set his personal best last time around, but he's just getting a little bit detached off the rear.
Look, you've just got to stay in the race at this moment, haven't you? Because who knows, they may well come back to you here. They may well be running a pace that their tyres can't sustain. So Kelso has had this, hasn't he, a little bit over the first few races on the bike at the back, number 66. 3rd in the championship, I want to remind people, with an 8th, a 5th and a 7th. And every single race he's been in the pack, but over the latter stages has just not been able to get involved in it.
Yeah, frustrating for the young Aussie. He wants to be there, he wants to be fighting for the podium. He typically has the pace throughout the weekend, but it's just managing the race a little better. He could be the clever one. He could be not overworking his tyres at the moment, and it may come to him. But, you know, what we've seen so far this season is just a little bit of a struggle for him. So, yeah, consistently not going to hit the point scores, though, and he is 3rd in the world thanks to that.
It's Colin Bayer who's leading. Of course, Bayer's looking to make up from his own indiscretion back at the Circuit of the Americas a couple of weeks ago. Was in a similar kind of position up towards the front as David Alonso gets past and just moves aside Scott Ogden through the final corner. Ogden and Vicente Perez's job now will be to try and stick with Alonso as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. They've got the fastest man in the field at the moment, just joined the party, so try and hang on as best as possible and hope that he brings them across to the next group.
So that's Alonso now up into 19th. He'll soon get 18th from Vicente Perez, who's standing in for Jose Antonio Rueda. In case you weren't with us for the build-up to this, had appendicitis in the USA, had surgery there, was past fit actually on Thursday, but then fell ill again through turn 5. He thought about it, Alonso. There was no way through for him, but there was a way through for David Munoz, who just eased it aside. At the end of the straight, they were about to go in there, Alonso. He just eased Ortola out of the way. Munoz is looking up for this one. So Alonso does get Vicente Perez up into 18th. Still 13 seconds to the leader. He's not going to catch them up now, unless something dramatically, their tyres were to fall off a cliff.
But yeah, his lap times have pretty much been the same as Colin Fire. So Colin at the head of the field, 45.2. David Alonso, this is the exit onto the straight. Vicente Perez just looks across, and obviously he was turning a little bit tighter, but I'm surprised he was still able to get the acceleration there and make the overtake over the crest.
He's obviously got that bike singing, hasn't he, around here. We're just past the halfway point of this race now, and it's the Dutchman Colin Fire who is leading the way. 19 years of old, from Meppel, a real motorcycling heartland there. A lot of flat track, that kind of thing goes on. They love their motorcycles in that part of the country. And he is just steadily leading a group of 4 here. Munoz second, Ortola third, and Yamanaka fourth. They've now got 1.3 seconds to Joel Esteban, and it looks like our podium is going to come from this 4. Is Yamanaka just starting to labour ever so slightly?
Yeah, that is the concern for Yamanaka, the tyre wear being on the softer rear. You can see Esteban in the top of shot on the exit of turn 4. He's still all over the blue paint there, struggling to keep it on track, so not turning as good as he would like, and it's obviously cost him today, so not able to hang with these lead 4. But I think it's going to end up a trio at the front. It's going to be Munoz fighting with Fire and Ortola for the top spots on this podium. And then all bets are off, because talking of Munoz is involved.
Yeah, talking of Fire, Colin Fire, there are fireworks set to come from Munoz and Ortola, who are both chargers. They are both aggressive riders.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We're on board here with Ortola. Yamanaka, as Michael mentioned before. Here we go then. I thought that was going to be the move there from even Ortola through Ferrari corner.
Tell you what, you don't see many passes into Ferrari, so it is such a fast corner. If you stick it up the inside there, you're really going to startle your rival. But yeah, I think Munoz, you never know. He's so unpredictable as a rider. You never know what you're going to get. He's got pace today, better than what we've seen from him all weekend. So he's obviously improved his setup, but obviously loves it when the lights go out. He is a Sunday man. He's a big racer.
I'm looking at lap times here with these lead riders, Michael. Fire's been very, very consistently around the mid-45s, 45.3, 40 on that lap, 45.4 previously. Others have been in the mid to high 45s and then a low one, a 45.1 from Munoz, for example, on that last lap. Well, Esteban and Kelso now in the high 45, 46 from them. It's going to... Now we're getting to the point where the lap times are just dropping off ever so slightly. It's going to be interesting to see if Faye's able to keep his consistent pace going, or Munoz and Ortola still have something left in the back.
Yeah, 7.5 laps to go. This is where things start to tip. You maybe get your second drop in terms of tyre performance. So usually it's about 4 or 5 laps, and then you get an initial drop, and that sometimes can stay all the way to the end. Munoz takes a big look behind to see who am I fighting with today, and it is going to be the MT Helmets duo and Colin Fire. So it's nice when it's a 4-bike battle or 3 bikes. You can come up with a strategy. You can see where you're strongest, where you can make those overtakes. Is Ortola down the inside?
Yeah, into Ancanieto corner. Is he going to run wide? Munoz going to get him on the exit? No. But I think you're absolutely right there, Michael, in terms of front group of 4 now. It's not like you're worrying about, I need to be in the front 4 going on to the final lap, because how many times do we see happen again in rookies earlier today, coming up to this final corner in 7 laps time, where do you want to be? You know, you probably probably don't want to be leading, because you will just expect 3 bikes alongside you.
Yeah.
And even in that rookies race, without giving anything away, the leader out of the final corner didn't lead across the line.
Exactly. In Moto3, more than any other class, it is different. So you always used to be that you fought for track position. You always wanted to be at the head of the pack, because you could make one mistake and be in 15th. But now, as a 4-bike battle, you could decide where you want to be. So for Colin Fire, does he lead it running into the final corner? I think that would be a risk when you know David Munoz is in the group. He's going to send down the inside.
We know Vaya likes to lead as well. When he came to the fore last year, it was often because he just likes to get to the front and stay at the front. Is he missing a trick here, just not to have a look at what the other riders have got underneath them?
Yeah, I think so. I think you would want to get a little look, see where they're stronger, where you can possibly overtake. Sometimes in Moto3 it is just wait till the other rider breaks and then you break. So that seems to be Munoz's strategy typically. But
that was deep from Ortola, wasn't it? Trying to stick on with Vaya and just not quite able to do it. Ran a little bit deep. Door was open, and as if David Munoz isn't going to... I mean, he kicks the door down when it's closed, so if there's a door open, he's definitely coming through.
The thing is, Fire's pace has been relentless, so every lap has been 45.2, 3, 1. Last time around 45.4, but Ortola was able to do a 45.2 as he made the overtake on Munoz. But just there on the onboard, it didn't look easy to match Colin, so Colin's pace is definitely quite strong here, and it could possibly be fast enough to actually get away.
David Alonso, just having a look at the left-hand side on that picture-in-picture there. He's now on the back of Matteo Bertelli. That is the cusp of the points, because that group are in them. There you can see, right at the back of the field. He is in 18th spot, Alonso. If you have just joined us, you missed a fiery start to this race, but David Alonso crashed out on the opening lap in this corner. Oh, and his nose is going to be wiped off there. Jacob Ralston in that group has dropped right to the back of it. He was leading it at the beginning of the last lap, and now he's right at the back of it. Yeah,
you do wonder if Jacob's feeling the effects of his crash yesterday, like Danny Holgado. They both had big over the top high sides at turn 5. Jacob had fantastic pace on Friday afternoon, so yeah, this isn't where he would have expected to be today.
Next one that Alonso takes will be into the points for him. So bearing in mind that the championship leader Danny Holgado, as you can see in the other picture on the left hand side of your screen, bear in mind he's currently picking up 9 points for 7th place. It's going to be a damage limitation exercise over these next few laps. And that was Rossi thinking about a move there, bailing out and finding himself right in the path of Alonso.
And Bertelli not giving an inch with Alonso. He was trying to send it back up the inside at turn 5. But yeah, it was just lines converging with Rossi, Rosado and Alonso almost coming a cropper.
Alonso recovered well, actually, I have to say, as now Farioli hung out to dry coming out of turn 6, so he drops behind for Rosado, and through turn 7 David Alonso pounces.
Neat as you like, the gap was there was a small opening and he just put it nicely up the inside.
Still at the front, Vaya leading from Munoz, Ortola and Yamanaka. Joel Kelso has just got through on Esteban. We're looking at the battle. This group that is running is David Almanza leading it for 12th place, and now David Alonso well into the points, past Filippo Farioli for 14th. Rosato's going to attack in Alex Crivier corner, but Alonso's going to be coming through. Then is he going to drag them up to the next group? 6 seconds. I think that's going to be a tall order, as here we go into Lorenzo corner. Filippo Farioli is going to get tight in the middle of that corner, but everyone through, thankfully, quite safely.
Wasted absolutely no time. As soon as an opportunity presents itself, he's going to be down the inside of Rosado into turn 1. Actually done most of that with the slipstream.
So Alonso hits 12th, hits the front of the group. In front of him, to Danny Holgado's group, he has got 6 seconds, 7.5 seconds actually now, with 5 laps to go. I don't think there's going to be enough time, even with the pace that he's running, unless people's pace does drop significantly. So 12th place, 4 points for Alonso, could be the best he hopes for today. At the front, this is Colin Vaya leading with 4.5 to go into turn 6, Danny Pedrosa corner. Vaya from Munoz, from Ortola, and Yamanaka starting to labour a bit.
Yeah, Ryusai, he had a reasonable lap time last time around, but I think turn 5 is costing him onto the back straight, perhaps not got the traction he needs. Does look like Munoz was able to respond, so he got back across a couple of tenths onto the rear wheel of Fire once again. So at the moment, it's difficult to bet against David Munoz, because you know his aggressive nature, you know that he's got a look at Colin for pretty much the majority of this race, so he knows where he can perhaps pounce over these last 4 and a bit laps.
Of course, Vaya is taking on the local heroes, especially David Munoz, who is from just up by the north of Seville, about an hour from here, Seville to the north. And so this is his local hunting ground. So Vaya taking him on, taking on Ortola as well, another Spaniard. I'll tell you what, Munoz is keeping his powder dry for once, but expect explosions soon.
Yeah, he will be pouncing as soon as, once it gets down to the last lap, he just attack. That is always his strategy, just go all in.
So you see how this group now is closing down on Esteban and Kelso, who are battling for 5th, but their pace has dropped because of that. And suddenly, Adrian Fernandez, and more importantly, Danny Olgado on the 96, championship leader, has a sniff of maybe getting a top 5 here.
Points-wise, that's important for Danny Holgado. He's not been off the podium yet this season. He's not going to be standing on the podium today unless something drastic happens at the head of the pack. So he's got to rescue as many points as possible. I think Esteban and Kelso will fall into the clutches of this group over the last 3 laps.
Down towards turn 6. Adrian Fernandez holding off championship leader Danny Olgado, but he runs wide and Olgado can just sweep through. That is a classic Jerez move, isn't it? In case someone just runs wide. It's quite wide, the track there at turn 6. A couple of lines converge and Fernandez could come straight back at him at turn 8. Not a more common move here at this circuit, and Olgado has to relinquish the place. Yeah, it's always wild again, like Munoz, where Fernandez is concerned.
Yeah, Fernandez, he's put things together here on the soft rear tyre. Didn't expect him to maintain the pace as well as he's done, but yeah, he's had quite a good rhythm on the Leopard machine throughout.
When does Munoz make a move? When does Ortola play the cards he's got in his hand? What has Colin Vaya got left? Because again, on that last lap, another 45.3. His consistency, his mark hitting has been sublime in this race so far. And again, a 45.5 from him, same from Munoz, slightly quicker from Ortola. Yamanaka are 4/10 behind them, but it's impressive the way that the Dutch youngster has led this race.
Yeah, and every lap it's been more than half a second under the previous race lap record, so such a good rhythm. Sometimes the cooler track temperature makes it faster, but I think a lot of it is down to the Pirelli tyres and the new KTM machine for 2024, but also the skill of the young Dutchman to be out front and control the pace with not making a single mistake. He's not been wide over any of those damp patches. He's hit every single marker, and yeah, making it difficult for the guys behind. Dutch
motorcycling is in really good nick at the moment. In World Supersport last time in Assen, Glenn van Stralen successful, Michael van der Mark's doing well there, Zonta van der Gerberg going great guns in Moto2, as is Bo Benschneider, and then you've got Colin Vaya here. It's really good situation for a small nation.
Yeah, indeed. Not had much to shout about over recent seasons, so it's great that we do have Colin Vaya really coming to the fore for the Dutch guys. So Assen will see a big turnout, I imagine, to support their charge.
Absolutely. Wow, if there's any way of a partisan crowd is there at Assen. And it's the same here. And we've got 2 Spaniards in 2nd and 3rd, but it's the Dutchman who is leading them and has led them since David Alonso crashed out of this race early on. He has rejoined. He's up to 12th place, but that looks as far as he's going to get. As Vaya now, what's he got? Has he got a little something extra? Has he kept something in the reserve tank here to have a go, to try and stretch them out? He looks like he's pushing that little bit more on that lap. Another 45.5. I'm so impressed by this ride today. I'm actually also impressed by how Munoz has decided to just sit there and not wreck the race.
Exactly, not ruffle his feathers, but yeah, it's been Lorenzo-esque 45.5 every single time. I think the worst I've seen was maybe a 45.6 or 7, but it's always been within a few tenths of a second. So 45.1s earlier in the race, but yeah, just hitting his markers every single lap.
Danny Olgado is now, with Adrian Fernandez, caught up Joel Esteban and Joel Kelso. So there is a battle for 5th going on. There you can see Kelso's reclaimed 5th. Joel Esteban in behind him. And then Fernandez and Olgado looking for more points, hunting to be able to extend the championship lead. And I think Danny Olgado, after yesterday's crash there, would be delighted and relieved that he actually extends his championship lead here today. We'll see what happens over the remaining lap and a half. This is Kelso holding off Joel Esteban for 5th place. Daniel Gardo on the red bike in the middle is in 8th place. As Colin Vaya out front, still leading the way from David Munoz. I'm not sure Ortola has really got a gun in this fight at the moment.
It doesn't look that way, but obviously things can change if there's a little bit of a contact or an aggressive pass by Munoz. It brings Ortola back into the fight again, but it doesn't look like if Colin keeps this pace and Munoz doesn't get a shot at it, then I don't think Ortola's got an opportunity.
Right, coming up to the final corner for the penultimate time. Where do you want to be in 1 lap's time? Do you want to be leading like Fire? Do you want to be in second like Munoz, ready to attack? Or maybe Ortola still has something to go. 1 lap remaining, 2 3/4 miles of the Angel Nieto Jerez circuit, and Colin Vaya has put in a sterling effort. But is it all to waste here if David Munoz can pounce right at the death? Towards turn 2 now, Michelin corner. We go back to the battle for 5th place. Daniel Gardo there, across the line in 8th, but it's at the front that we need to see with Colin Vaya and David Munoz battling it out for victory in this race. Yes, this is important for the championship, but at the moment we want to know who's going to win the Spanish Grand Prix. We're up on the helicopter looking at Colin Vaya. Even Ortola is not close enough. It's going to be between Vaya and Munoz here. What has Munoz got for us? Knowing David Munoz as we do, expect a move. Vaya pulls right across to the right-hand side of the track. Is there a chance for a move for Munoz? Of course there is. There has to be. Oh, but Vaya is so strong on the brakes. That's brilliant from the Dutchman.
That really is. Obviously, it got close there in the braking zone. Well controlled from Munoz to be right on the rear wheel. This is a different one. He's going for it.
And he is going to. He's into Aspar corner. No, Vaya again holds out. Has Munoz be able to get the run now? Because Vaya had to push that little bit deeper in there. Can he get the run down into Nieto corner? Is he going to be able to have a go? No, he isn't. Vaya holds firm. It's surely going to be in the last corner, or will it be a surprise move into Crivier corner? Here we go then. 3 more to go. Into Alex Crivier corner they go. Next one is Ferrari. Look at how Munoz hangs off the bike. He's trying to make sure he can get the run now. On Vaya towards the final corner. Can he hold firm on the brakes? Can Munoz attack? Vaya takes the perfect line to make sure Munoz can't come through. Is there any way for Munoz to attack him with the slipstream on the home straight for the Spanish Grand Prix? Who's it going to be? It's going to be Colin Vaya who wins in front of the Spaniard on home soil. Delight for the Husqvarna team. Vaya wins, Munoz second, Ortola in third, Yamanaka picks up 4th place, Kelso takes 5th, and in the end, Daniel Gardo claims 7th place in this race at 9 points. David Alonso, after crashing out of the lead, frustration for the Colombia. He actually picks 11th up in the end. Someone's crashed on that last lap. I think it was Joel Esteban. Oh, from 5th place. So Esteban's gone down at the final corner. And that means Alonso picks up 5 points. But the big news, Michael, is the ride that Colin Vaya has put together today. That was inch perfect.
Oh, unbelievable. He was just so good today. Not a single opportunity was given on the last lap for an overtake. David Munoz would have put it up the inside with a chance. This is the final corner. Oh, Esteban just lost the front, trailing it down in there. So heartbreak for the young Spaniard. Good race for him today and didn't get the deserved points in the end. But that's racing. Unfortunately, he's frustrated. Heartbreak for the young man.
So Esteban goes down, but no doubt about your race winner today with Alonso crashing out of it. It's Colin Vaya who takes victory in the Grand Prix of Spain. Disappointment for the likes of Jorge Martinez Aspar. Vaya has done it on enemy territory.
In time.
Nico to roll. He actually came in with his hands together, asking for forgiveness from the team. He crashed out on the opening lap of the race at the final corner, Michael, but you could see what happened there, those treacherous bumps.
Yeah, little ripples just kicked off the front tyre. It was on the move. He was pushing hard to try and get a gap. We thought he was, oh, that was late on Josh Watley into one of the fastest corners on the track.
He's the other rider out the way as well in Scott Ogden.
To be fair, we thought Alonso, with the pace he had all weekend, would have charged away at the front, but looking at the speed Colin Fire had, I think he would have had something for David Alonso today. His rhythm was at least as good as what we've seen from the young Colombian throughout, but yeah, you can see he's frustrated. He knows that he threw away a potential victory, or at the very least a podium today.
Yeah, it's been a tough weekend for Moto3 with the rain yesterday morning, a damp track when they went out for qualifying, and he'd just been head and shoulders above the rest. But when it came to the crucial part of the weekend, it's this youngster who had the wherewithal, aged 19, to lead it from the front. We didn't have a pass for the lead for the last 10, 11, 12 laps of that race. It was a sumptuous ride.
It really was. The last two laps, 45.3, 45.2 on the final lap. Not a single opportunity for this young man to get through. He was trying everywhere. We thought end of the back straight, but Colin was too strong in the brakes. Then it looked like turn 8, then turn 9, and then through the fast right-handers setting up the last corner, he just got himself out of reach, and Munoz couldn't even have tipped a pass. So an absolutely classy ride from Colin Fire.
I remind people as well that David Munoz himself is just 17 years of age. Just 17. He turns 18 in a month's time, and he's still learning. He's still learning. But I thought that was as good a ride as I've seen. We might have to have a look at what happened at turn 1 again, because that was a little bit, you know, one of those that you'd just have a little rap on the knuckles for. But the rest of the race was really good, the way he sat in behind Colin.
Yeah, it was classy. Obviously, he's well known for his ultra-aggressive passes, but he was smart today. He didn't make any big moves that perhaps created a gap in the front group. He worked hard. He let Colin do the work at the front. And yeah, solid 20 points on the board.
Danny Olgado down there with his sister, just helping him get out of his leathers. A big crash yesterday. I think 7th today. He'll be, yeah, a thumbs up there. He's got to be pleased with that one.
Exactly. When you're playing the long game, as Danny Holgado is doing, the wet patch catching him out yesterday meant that he's on the back foot in terms of grid position, in terms of fitness. Solid points. He'll, yeah, still be happy to maintain his lead, but it has been reduced, so... Oh, sorry, he's managed to extend over Alonso, but it's been reduced from Colin Fire joining the party now up to 3rd in the title race.
You said it there about his lap times at 45.2 on the end. He just had that pace throughout the whole race. He probably was within 4 tenths either way, like 2 tenths either way of 45.3 throughout the entire race. Not a foot wrong, and then gave no opportunity to Munoz on that last lap.
Yeah, the best lap of the race was a 45.1 set by the soft rear tyre at the midpoint. On the harder rear tyre, he had, what, 1/10 off the new race lap record.
Let's hear from Ivan Ortola. Just didn't have enough left at the end to fight.
Ivan, on the podium in your home country, and it's never easy in Jerez. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, I'm happy with the race. It's true, at the beginning I was okay with the tire, but at the end I suffered a lot with the back tire. Anyway, I'm happy with the work because last race I was a little bit on the limit and I crashed. And happy for the team and sponsor and family and all people that helped me.
Huge congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done to Ivan. As Simon Crafar mentioned, home race. He actually is from just around the corner of the Valencia circuit, Ivan Ortola. But still, nonetheless, this is the Spanish Grand Prix, so a special one. He won it last year. Another podium here. Good performance, and important, actually, for Ortola after what happened, the frustrations that he went through over in the USA.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, in it for the championship. He's 4th now, and he has had well, the obvious indiscretion of trying to jump on his old bike in Texas, but yeah, that was a solid performance today.
Another podium for him, his 2nd of the year after Portugal. First podium of the year for David Munoz, 17, and he's got 5 already to his name, still to win, but he'll be sweet with a Spanish podium.
David, you've come from just up the road from the circuit. You were so close to the win. It wasn't quite, but you can be proud of your efforts. A great ride.
Yeah, today is a very difficult race because the Colin race is very fast, and the crash of Alonso is the 1 point strong for me because Alonso is the one step more for the everything. And well, maybe the good race, thank you to my team and to my family and everything the people on the Jerez.
Congratulations.
17 years of age and already 5 Grand Prix podiums to his name, and second here at oh no, actually I tell a lie, it wasn't here last year, was it, that he took a podium, but nonetheless great ride in behind Colin Fire.
That's as close as you get in the braking sun. See Artola lifting his knee and then just making a little bit of contact shoulder to the bodywork, but yeah, that's as close as we like it in Moto3.
New special lid this weekend for David Munoz. I really like that one. It's all carbon with bright luminous yellow flowers on them. So our race winner here in Spain for the second time in Grand Prix racing is Colin Vaya from the Netherlands.
Colin, it's never easy to win at Jerez. Everyone here is so fast, especially the locals, and you did it. How does that feel?
Well, still, it feels strange, to be fair. The race overall felt quite good. Yeah, Alonso crashed, so it did help me a little bit because I think if he stayed on, he would put the pace also. But yeah, at one point I felt great in the race, and yeah, I just could keep the pace quite consistent for my feeling. And yeah, that brought me the win finally. And yeah, even the last lap I was thinking maybe block some corners, but said if they come they will pass me, but finally they didn't pass me into the last corner. And yeah, this one I want to say something to Radar. I hope you get soon better, and I hope you will be back in Le Mans so we can fight again also with him, because he would be great also here. Like in the past he did good, so for sure he would be great here also. And so I will want to say get well soon to him, and yeah, I want to thank my family, friends and my sponsors, everyone for this one.
Huge congratulations.
suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire. Suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire. Heart on fire. Set my heart afire.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating through the air. The pain I felt is paid for, all is said and done. Oh, I am restricted, fixed upon the web. I need to kick the habit that my mind is breathing in. Break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. I'm here and I'm feeling exaggerated, that's what you assume. The story's over now, I must conclude. I am conflicted, watching where I step still, hanging in the balance. Not the life I want to live, I want to take it all, standing tall. Fear outweighed the person you are. Oh, break out, I've got to see. Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless. Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go. I feel like I linger between the words to say the words to remember. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all, lose it all, lose it all. Feel it in your arms, feel it in your legs, feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go, just let your body go, just let your body go and move to the rhythm. Now we won't go back home today, until the very last hour. We still got few more days to slay, it's gonna get so much louder. Now we're here to take control over your body and over your soul. We're gonna take back everything and lose it all, lose it all, lose it all. Feel it in your arms, feel it in your legs, feel it on your fingertips and feel it in your head. Just let your body go, just let your body go, just let your body go and move to the rhythm.
Grand Prix of Spain and two Spanish riders ahead of a Brit on the front row of the grid. Dixon third, Arenas second, but it's Fermín Aldeguer, the youngster, looking for a first win of 2024. Can he deliver at home? Good afternoon now from Jerez, just coming up to 12:15 local time here in the Spanish sunshine. Still a few worries about water on certain parts of the racetrack. Hopefully we'll be okay for this Moto2 race with Fermín Aldeguer on pole position. On the second row of the grid is your championship leader, Sergio Garcia. In between them, keep an eye on Manu Gonzalez, who's looked great this weekend. Qualifying yesterday took place on a patchy wet track. And that meant we got a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy grid at some point. So keep an eye, for example, on Alonso Lopez and Somkiat Chantra, who looked good during the weekend. We go further back down. Zonta van der Gerberg had a crash during qualifying, so he starts at the back of the sixth row of the grid. Senna Ages was unlucky. The conditions were as they are, because I think his pace was a little bit better than down in 19th on the grid. Dennis Fodger, another one of those to crash. Great ride from him in the USA, where he finished in 6th place. Right down the order here today. All the way to the back of the field, we see Xavier Artigas there. A couple of names who aren't there normally. Jorge Navarro, one of those who's riding as a wildcard for forward racing this weekend. And Matteo Ferrari, former Moto3 World Cup champion. He starts from 26th on the grid after a massive crash earlier this weekend. Beautiful scenes of the Jerez de la Frontera circuit up towards turn 1 on their final warm-up lap, and I thought it was interesting, Michael, hearing from Jake Dixon, who I will say sounded nervous. They're making big changes to the bike. Moto2 and Moto3 don't have warm-ups on the morning, and after losing yesterday morning to the wet, the afternoon was patchy. It was their first chance to really try something since Friday afternoon.
Yeah, there's a short window at the start of the sighting lap period. You can get out there and get 2 laps on the board. So obviously Joe's in shot. Obviously Jake went out there with the intention of figuring out the changes and see if they were an improvement. He didn't like them, and he sounded nervous. He was slightly frustrated to have to make those, or actually revert back to the original setting from Friday night. So yeah, obviously 2 dry sessions on Friday, wet session yesterday, patchy in the afternoon, so it's difficult for them to really get into race setup, to really make big setup changes. But yeah, whether hopefully it was just suspension that they could obviously swap back out, but if it's a big fundamental chassis change, then there's not a lot you can do. So fingers crossed Jake still has a good feeling with the bike under him in this race.
If you look at the lap times, you look at the way people have performed over the weekend, this should be Fermin Aldeguer's race to lose. However, the Pirelli era of Moto2 has meant things are not always quite as straightforward as they seem, and he hasn't scored a win yet this year. Just that one podium as well, which came at the last round in the USA when he struggled in the latter stages.
Exactly, 4 on the bounce to finish last season. He's been fast enough to achieve victory this year, but it just hasn't happened so far. You mentioned the Pirelli tyres. It does seem like there's a bit of a mixed bag in terms of front tyre, but nearly everyone opted for the soft rear, the SC0. So there is a SC1 in some Chantra's rear, but the front tyre for Sergio Garcia, like he did in Texas, he's gone harder than the rest of the first 2 rows of the grid. So he's gone for the SC2, the hard front tyre.
So as Sergio Garcia, that championship leader on that second row of the grid, in 6th place. So keep an eye on Garcia, keep an eye on Chantra perhaps to come through later on. Here we go then. We've got 21 laps of the Moto2 Grand Prix of Spain. Fermin Aldeguer, MotoGP rider next year. Can he take his first victory of the season here in 2024? The lights go out and we are underway in the Spanish Grand Prix, in a decent start actually from Jake Dixon. Decent start from Aldeguer, not so good from Albert Arenas. It's extremely tight, and around the outside Manu Gonzalez gets away best from the second row of the grid. He leads him. Big twitch from Diogo Moreira down towards turn 2. Dixon strong on the inside there to hang on to 4th place. Oh, that looked like Chantra being sent out there wide at turn 2. That could do his chances of fighting for the podium. Real damage, but at the front it is going to be coming through Manu Gonzalez from Fermin Aldeguer, and Aldeguer attacks Michael.
Straight down the inside at turn 5. Aldeguer, not a great jump off the line. The wheel did pop up a little bit. Manu Gonzalez from the second row took full advantage. He had the perfect line down into turn 1, down the outside on the racing line.
As did Sergio Garcia. There he is, the championship leader, as Manu Gonzalez levels Aldeguer. Oh, and Aldeguer's bike rocking front and rear down through Dani Pedrosa corner, but he hangs on behind Gonzalez. Drops back to second though, and Garcia just watching on at the moment.
Gonzalez aware that Fermin Aldeguer has the pace, as we've seen, to get out front and just drop the hammer, stretch out a lead, so immediately responding down into the Dani Pedrosa corner and making it work.
And you could see there Aldeguer was trying to line up a move into Nieto corner, but Gonzalez equal to it. Jake Dixon still in 4th place, so it's Gonzalez from Aldeguer and Garcia, the Spanish 1, 2, 3. Dixon in 4th, Arenas 5th. Ramirez has had a good start, local lad in 6th place. Joe Roberts down in 11th place on this opening lap for the USA.
Good opening lap for Jake. If you think back to the Dunlop era, it was always difficult in the first few laps for him to stay with the lead group, but always the pace got better as the race went on. So yeah, hopefully Jake can keep his claws into the rear of Sergio Garcia.
And Garcia attacking Aldeguer now up to turn 1. Garcia got a really good jump out of the final corner. Aldeguer will have the inside line down into turn 2, and this scrapping at the front is just what Manu Gonzalez wants. You can see a couple of damp areas on the outside of the racetrack there at turn 2. I thought Dixon was going to have a dig there at Garcia. He came off worst in his battle with Aldeguer in the end, but it stays as they were now. Aldeguer back into second, Garcia third, Dixon fourth, Albert Arenas still behind in 5th.
Yeah, the two Boscoscuro machines going back and forth, with Sergio Garcia trying to get down the inside of Aldeguer, and then Aldeguer repays the favour. That allows Manu Gonzalez a little bit of breathing room. Jake did have a potential at turn 3, but it wouldn't have worked out from the outside, so he did think the better of it and slotted back in behind Sergio Garcia.
One thing Dixon did say is he felt he was good on tyre life. That's one thing, but he hasn't been able to test it yet so far this year, because of course he hasn't raced until the last one and crashed out after 8-9 laps when we were back in the USA. So that's something we'll see as this race develops. What we have learnt so far is that of the front group at the moment, Garcia is the one so far this year who has been able to hold on to his tyres best, and that's Senna Aegis down early. Well, where on earth has his bike ended up here? It's this is at turn 6.
It's going to be contact with Zonta van der Gerberg at angle.
What?
Oh, his rear tyre always bests front. This is going to hurt.
This is coming onto the back straight, isn't it? Or is that towards out of turn 6, isn't it? That's where Pedrosa Lorenzo Dovizioso crashed, I think.
Yeah.
Coming out of turn 6. Is that right?
Yeah, it is on the direction change. So obviously Zonta's been a little bit deep and coming back, changing direction. He wants to get across to the right-hand side of the track, and unfortunately took the front end away from Senna Aegis, but hopefully he's okay. It looked like he was a bit winded at the side of the track.
So does Bo Benschneider, the Dutchman, at turn 13. Oh my goodness me, the rear lets go on him. Mid-corner, horrible high side. Yeah, it's slow speed, but that one's just a nasty crash for the lanky Dutchman. So he crashes out of the way. He and Aegis have fallen by the wayside early on. Fastest rider on circuit, Michael, Joe Roberts, up to 9th place. Joe started in 11th, so has just made up a couple of spots. It's Tony Arbolino who's gone backwards behind him. Joe up to 8th now, should I say. Arbolino just dropping behind him.
Yeah, Joe was the fastest man on Friday afternoon. Looked like he had the pace to battle for the podium, but obviously the wet weather qualifying, or the patchy qualifying, it put him a little bit out of sorts in terms of grid position. So yeah, he's got some work to do.
Still, Dixon holds off Arenas in behind him. Marcos Ramirez, local lad from the coast just to the south of Cadiz, Conil de la Frontera, beautiful white town that he comes from, and lots of local support. He's got a little fan club up on the hillsides there as well as Marcos Ramirez. So keep an eye on the 24 with his special Andalusian number and helmet design for this race. He's just there behind Albert Arenas on the 24, and in turn he's ahead of Diogo Moreira, the Brazilian, who's having a good ride, the rookie.
Another good ride. He was strong in Texas, had a better practice in qualifying than race, but it looks like it's coming together for the young Brazilian rider. So yeah, he's enjoying his time so far in Moto2 and clicking with these Pirelli tyres.
Another yellow flag in the final sector there. I wonder if we've had another turn 13 rider crashing out. Xavi Artigas, I think, might have gone. Yes, it is Artigas who's fallen out of this race. Jake Dixon just losing touch now ever so slightly with Garcia, but as we've seen in the races so far this year, a classic Jerez crash in the final corner. As we've seen, these races are not being decided in laps 1, 2 and 3.
No, it is tyre consumption in Portugal, likewise in Texas. Some people getting stronger in the latter laps of the race, others who work hard in these early laps. I think Manu Gonzalez is yet to figure out the full puzzle in terms of managing his tyres over race distance, but he looks comfortable out front.
Arenas now attacking Jake Dixon into turn 7. What is clear from Gonzalez, the way he rides is just so smooth. There's Marcos Ramirez there. That was a rash move. Almost saw that Jake Dixon had been passed, and he had to abort mission quickly, and it's meant that he's lost a couple of spots, and Joe Roberts is the one who's profited most from that, because now he's slotted in behind Dixon up to 6.
Yeah, Joe capitalised there. He pounced immediately, so gained 2 spots, and he's got the pace, so if he can get through quite quickly, you can see Sergio Garcia up ahead, then a podium still beckons today.
Yeah, we're on board here with Joe Roberts now towards the final corner, but you would feel he had that little bit more pace than Dixon in the dry conditions on Friday afternoon, and Roberts is starting to motor, and that really helped him that his teammate just made a slightly rash move, getting a long lap penalty out there for Zonta van der Gerberg for irresponsible riding in front of Senna Aegis.
So something must have happened before the shot that we got, so whether it was contact or why he was out from the outside and came back onto the line, perhaps without taking good care.
Jake Dixon just a little bit wide mid-corner there in turn 2, just almost feels like he was struggling to hook that up.
Yeah, it looks like it's not easy for Jake at the moment. You can hear a little bit of wheel spin on board with Joe Roberts, trying to set a move up on Jake, so this just looks like he's turning a little bit tighter. Jake not getting it to hook the way he wants.
Keep an eye on this one, the British-American battle between Jake Dixon and Joe Roberts. At the front, we've got an all-Spanish battle going on between Manu Gonzalez and Fermin Aldeguer. Completely different riding styles, Michael. Manu Gonzalez is smooth as silk. Fermin Aldeguer is all over the bike. He's all action, isn't he?
Yeah, Manu's got a bit of an old-school riding style, a bit more upright, but then still hangs off it. So it's a bit of a mix of old school and new school, but Fermin Aldeguer is firmly in the new school. He's sideways, he's using his head, gets really low off the side of the bike, and as you mentioned, loose on entry and braking. He's aggressive. He spins it off the turn. He's got really good control in terms of rear wheels spinning off the even slower corners we've seen over this weekend.
How good is the shoulder cam? We're on board, quite literally on the leathers of Fermin Aldeguer, and just looking at the tank of his bike as he goes into Jorge Lorenzo corner now. Great shots there of how he has to adjust his wrist in the middle of the corner to hook it round and then get himself up right once more. Joe Roberts has got through on Dixon now. He's up into 5th place. Roberts is motoring and going really well.
Another yellow flag at sector 4, so that has been the accident black spot.
Yeah, Dennis Fodger's gone down, so Fodger trying to recover from a tricky qualifying, and he's gone at turn 13. Remember, tyres will play a part in this race. Oh, there are lots of fast corners around this circuit. This is one of them, a bit wide there. Actually, Manu Gonzalez back, the first sign of some kind of issues for Gonzalez. We know he has dropped back a couple of times already this season. Was on pole in Portugal, finished 3rd in the end, dropped back to 13th in the USA, and he's claimed that position back straight away from Fermin Aldeguer.
He's been able to respond every time Aldeguer's got a wheel in front. Manu Gonzalez has put him back in his box, so it looks like Manu's feeling in control of this race at the moment. There's a long way to go. We're only on lap 5, and he wants to lead from the front. He wants to control the pace.
The rider who'll be enjoying watching this is the one who has the best seat in the house for it, Sergio Garcia, just behind them. He's just set a personal best lap on the previous lap, quicker than both of the riders in front of him. And Garcia, championship leader, again, he's backing up that win last time, backing up the podium in Qatar, sat in 3rd and looks comfortable.
And that's a new best race lap for Moto2, better than the previous lap record held by Sam Lowes, so Sam loses that one this weekend. We did expect it. Pirelli have been faster around here this weekend than previous Dunlops.
Yeah, Manu Gonzalez did a 141.028 a couple of laps ago. Back to a 41.4 from him, same for Aldeguer, and now Garcia a 41.3. Quicker than all of them, Joe Roberts. 2.9 behind Gonzalez, but Joe Roberts a couple of tenths quicker than the leaders at this stage of the race.
Good signs for Joe. He needs it, though. He needs to work hard, and unfortunately we keep talking about tyre wear, and I think that may be to his detriment, so you have to work the tyres. You've got to use the rubber to regain the ground. Oh, this is going to get tied up into 5.
Well, we've seen it on the last lap, and again Aldeguer manages to sneak his wheel through. What he's looking for is to hang on now, and then if he can get it in front of Gonzalez here at turn 6 and stay in front, but he's not going to be able to. Gonzalez almost right through his leg. He's got to go deep. He's got to go deep. Now Gonzalez will try everything he can to get the cutback into turn 7. He's scrapping it here, and Gonzalez does it. That's brilliant from Manu Gonzalez. Look at Aldeguer. Oh, just wipes his nose off up towards turn 8. This is a rare old battle already. We're only on lap 7 of the race.
Yeah, Gonzalez desperate to keep Fermin Aldeguer behind, but on this occasion, Aldeguer coming out on top. So yeah, at this point in the race, Aldeguer wants to stamp his authority, wants to get to the front. Manu Gonzalez is having none of it, though.
Yeah, because he knows just if Aldeguer now at this part of the racetrack is able to just stretch away from him, that he might be done. That might be his chance gone. Again, Sergio Garcia loving watching this one. The fact they're battling will help him. Look how much closer he is on this lap. There's a yellow flag being shown down in turn 13, so bear that in mind. There were no moves available to the riders. Barry Baltus has crashed out. We also just saw another crasher on that last lap with Darren Binder, so the South African has gone too. And Joe Roberts in the meanwhile now is up to 4th place and charging. He needs to make hay quickly if he wants to get involved, but all the battling at the front is helping him.
Yeah, he's a tenth faster than Aldeguer last time around and half a second faster than Gonzalez due to the back and forth at the head of the pack. But he wasted no time in making an overtake in Albert Arenas, so yeah, he's getting his head down. He's going to have to work hard over these next few laps.
The same battle for 4th. I'm not sure it's a battle at all, is it? Because Joe Roberts is just through on Arenas and clearing off here. Roberts on that previous lap, faster than Aldeguer by a tenth, faster than Gonzalez by 0.6 of a second, faster than Garcia by a couple of tenths. He is the fastest on the track at the moment, as Jake Dixon now just has to make way for Marcos Ramirez. Ramirez goes through and up into 6th place.
I'm interested to see if Sergio Garcia responds now that he sees Aldeguer getting to the head of the pack, because similar bikes, they're both mounted on those Bosco chassis. He's got the harder front end, Sergio Garcia, that is the number 3 MT helmets machine. that should come to him over the second half of the race, but right now he's sitting a comfortable 7/10 adrift off the leader.
Last year's runner-up in the championship, Tony Arbolino there on the number 14 bike. Best result of 11th so far this year, so 8th is good, but what we've seen for Tony this year is he's dropped back later on in the race. They will figure it out. The Mark VDS team and Philip Salach's team out there having his best ride of the season so far. They are a vastly experienced team, well supported, well funded. They will get there. But unfortunately, it could well be that the championship is already too far away by the time they sort things out.
Yeah, unfortunately, the change has definitely thrown them a loop. They are one of the most experienced squads on the grid, and as you mentioned, well-funded, good staff. But it's a curveball that obviously no one could really anticipate exactly what was required. It looks like
grimace from Dennis Fodger in that crash that he's had at turn 13. And it's going to be a high side, is it? No. Just drops down onto his left arm, left elbow. So perhaps when that happened, well, I know when that happened, I will have smarted. He went back to try and pick up his bike. Wasn't to happen, Michael.
Yeah, the immediate adrenaline, you don't feel any pain whatsoever. As soon as it subsides, then all of a sudden things begin to throb. You begin to feel where the aches are. And yeah, you can see the grimace on Foggia's face. He's going to have to take a trip to the med centre and get that one checked out.
Answer to your question, will Garcia respond? Yeah, his lap times have dropped. However, Fermin Aldeguer on that previous lap has done a 1:41.1, fastest on track by far. And that means he's now got a 4/10 gap to Gonzalez, and it is growing. He's getting in the groove here, Fermin Aldeguer. The question is still going to be, as this race goes on, is he going to have something in the latter stages of the race? Because that has been left wanting at a couple of rounds already. In Portugal, he burnt off his tyres. In the USA, he faded in the latter stages, and Joe Roberts had the edge, and Garcia had the edge on him. So, when we get down to 3 laps to go, you've just got to stay in these races. They're like battles of attrition.
Yeah, Moto3 races have changed this year.
Has Dixon gone? I think Dixon's gone in the final corner. I was just looking for him. Yeah, in the final corner, Jake Dixon struggling to hang on to the back of Marcos Ramirez. I was just looking for him coming up the straight, and he's gone the way of so many others. Mid-corner, turn 13, and down he goes. We'll talk about the WP suspension. He's the top WP runner in the field. The next one was Celestino Vietti, it looks like, down in 13th. Is that right?
Yeah.
Calculating that right?
It is, yeah. Frustrating times. Obviously, the big change of Pirelli tyres combined with a big change of the suspension inside those factory teams. The Pure Mobility Group have 3 brands out there with the CF Motor Machines. That is new lap record again from Joe Roberts last time around. But yeah, the factory teams essentially are the Husqvarna squad, the CF Moto squad, and the KTM AO squad. So all 6 of those bikes have the WP suspension in. They have a good crew on hand to develop it, but unfortunately are developing while racing, and Ohlins have had banks worth of data from over the years in Moto2, so, and Pirelli tyres from World Superbike. So yeah, it just seems like WP are on the back foot a little bit, and unfortunately that's hampering Jake's campaign at the moment.
There's Joe Roberts, fastest man on track. A cloud overhead makes it look a little bit gloomy, but don't worry about the rain today, we are told. Fermin Aldeguer's not got a cloud over him at the moment, has he? At the front. And pulling away in this Spanish Grand Prix. 41.2 from him on the last lap. Another 41.2. Gonzalez a 41.4. 41.3 for Garcia. So he's pulling away from those two, but 41.2 for Joe Roberts in 4th place.
Yeah, Joe's got his sights set on a podium here, so he's having to work. Obviously, it's physical, it's demanding, it's getting hot out there, so obviously it was a cool morning, but it's heating up, so yeah, it's going to be a tough and physical race for Joe Roberts.
But by Jerez standards, it is cool, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
true.
We're used to it being, even at this time of the day, you know, track temperatures over 40 degrees, the track getting greasy and slippery, but yeah, we hadn't before the start of this race even got into, well, it was 34 degrees track temperature.
Yeah, unusual. Oof, that was the moment in the run to turn 1.
Well, he obviously had trouble getting off the line, pulled to one side, then had to pull right to the left-hand side of the track, and it was a little bit risky. The start from Fermin Aldeguer. Somkiat Chantra, he saw in the middle of the pack, made a good start, but here he ran wide early on. He's actually made it back into the points now as Chantra. up to 14th, and his pace is decent too.
Tell you what, it's interesting seeing the turn 1 shot there, and Joe Roberts was almost making contact with Alonso Lopez at turn 1. Look at where Joe's at now, in podium contention, and Alonso Lopez, usually one of the fastest men in the field, he's just inside the top 10 in 9th, so Joe's had an impressive run of laps to get through to here. Oh, Garcia almost on the grass there on the exit of turn 12.
Yeah, and Joe Roberts is closing quickly on Garcia on this lap. The gap at the start of it was 1.2. It's now down to half a second. So Garcia just having a couple of moments on this lap as they come across the line. 0.7 actually between the pair of them.
Another 41.1 for Joe Roberts last time around. Leader Aldeguer 41.3, 41.3 for Manu Gonzalez, and a 41.6 for Garcia. So yeah, Joe is clearly the fastest man on track.
But again, we'll say it again, how much so have you had to use to get to this part of the race and keep yourself in touch? We saw mistakes come in from him, from Sergio Garcia in the latter stages of the lap of the race, should I say, in Moto2 in the USA.
Championship-wise, this is good for Joe. You expect he will be able to get through on Garcia. All of a sudden, it's on for Joe Roberts. Round 4 of the season, we didn't pick him as a championship challenger, really, not based on where he's been the last couple of seasons with the Taltrans, but yeah, the stars are aligning for Joe Roberts.
Stars and stripes, aren't they? Because of course Trackhouse Aprilia, Justin Marks has made no secret of the fact he'd love to have an American in MotoGP, and the fact is Joe's the only American in the whole championship at the moment, and he's performing to boot.
Yeah, he's got a lot going for him. He's fast, he's likeable, got the correct passport. The American team joining MotoGP with Trackhouse, the Aprilia door reopening for Joe Roberts. Aprilia, the factory themselves, really wanted the young American 3-4 years ago. So yeah, could all be back on the cards.
So as we head down towards Jorge Lorenzo corner, look at that, in every single sector he's made time on Garcia. Garcia's gone wide in turn 13. They're alongside, side by side. The lighter Garcia no doubt will get the drive, but he's having problems, is Garcia. In front of Roberts, was very, very wide. Joe made up a quarter of a second on that last lap. Can he find a way through, though, on the young Spaniard?
It does seem like Sergio's been wide on the last 2 laps at turns 12 and 13, so yeah, not working for him. We thought the SC2 front would begin to come into its own the second half of the race. We're just past the halfway point, but it doesn't look to be the case for Sergio Garcia at the moment.
Yet another crash at turn 13, and it's Diogo Moreira this time, who was battling for 10th place. Look at that, Roberts just turns underneath Garcia into turn 5. Excellent. Roberts back into the podium positions, and of course, now he's ahead of the championship leader. He's closing in on the championship lead. In fact, as things stand, he would be leading this championship after 4 rounds.
I've got to say, fair play to Joe Roberts and the American racing team. They've had a tough time the last couple of years, but bringing Joe back into the camp, they've worked really hard actually in the winter on understanding these Pirelli tyres. They've got some new proprietary software involved with the analysis of the tyre degradation and the wear, and really monitoring that, and it seems to be paying dividends.
Frustration for Diogo Moreira. Oh, is Ayagura there from his old MT Helmets team, just on the inside. Just go a little bit wide. Do you think there might be a little damp area still? Because turn 13 has often been one of the problem areas.
The weepers have been always there at turn 13. Even a couple of years ago without rain, they were there after overnight cool conditions, and sun comes out in the morning and draws them to the surface. It looks, the number of crashes in this race, you've got to say it's slicked down in there with possible weepers.
I'd say 5 or 6 crashes have occurred in this Moto2 race at turn 13, Jorge Lorenzo corner. At the front, Aldeguer is managing this one well. 7/10 still ahead of Manu Gonzalez. A 10th quicker, though, the rider in second on that last lap, as Aldeguer just rides the inside curb there through turn 3. Joe Roberts faster than the pair of them, 2 seconds covering the front 3. This race is not done quite yet, Michael.
No, it's 2/10 a lap, roughly, that Joe can gain. He did so even making an overtake at turn 5, although it was so clean I don't think it cost him any time whatsoever. I think he's going to get across. The question remains, does he have any Pirelli rubber left when he gets there to fight? We've seen it in Portugal, Aldeguer, after the long lap penalties. He worked hard, overworked his tyres. It looked like he was going to win the thing, and then all of a sudden, his tyres dropped off a cliff.
Through these fast left-handers of turn 7 and turn 8. strong part of the circuit, those four Roberts. And into the stadium section, Spanish fans. Oh, have a Spanish 1-2, and that's a warning for Gonzalez. His pace was just matching that of Aldeguer. In fact, a little bit quicker, as I just said. But is that meaning it's at the detriment of his tyres?
Joe had already made up 2 tenths on Gonzalez before that little mistake, so he's inching closer here on this lap.
He's got the bit between his teeth, hasn't he?
But he looks comfortable. Obviously, the onboard shots, you can see the bike juddering and bouncing before he goes into turn 1, and he still throws it on its side with such a confidence. So last time around, another 41.2.
Crucially, though, I will say, Michael, Aldeguer quicker, back into the 41.1 bracket.
Perhaps he's getting his signals to Joe Roberts now on his board and alerting him the gap is coming down, so he's going to respond if he can, if he's got tyre left on the Bosco machine. They typically do manage their tyre consumption quite well, or did so with Dunlops. We haven't really got to understand it as well so far this year.
Yeah, Alonso Lopez winner of the opening round, Sergio Garcia winner in Cota, so they've won 2 out of the 3 races so far. Bosco great and football there. Team boss just applauding alongside John Hopkins. I love that from Joe Roberts, talking about how he's learning from Hopkins. Said he's read his book, and there's a lot of lessons to learn from John Hopkins' leathered book, I have to say. And as he said, a lot of them I'm not that familiar with. I don't think many of us are, but it is a fantastic read. Oh, Alex Eskrich, he was back in 22nd position, but crashes out of it. And Matteo Ferrari.
Well done, Matteo. That's not. You think the bike's riding along, so it's going to get an easy stop, but it gets a head-on into the wall. So need to check the head angle on that one, boys. I think the front clamps may be tweaked a little.
Fermin Aldeguer from the helicopter. In a race of his own now at the front, 1.2 clear of Manu Gonzalez. Joe Roberts might be his main challenger in this race, but this is Aldeguer back to his best here from pole position. Didn't make the greatest of getaways, but he had to muscle through on Gonzalez in the end. It took him 2 or 3 laps to do so, to get there, but since he's hit the front, he's really mapped out this race. He's just set his personal best lap.
What a time to do it. 6 laps to go, and you just up the ante. So, yeah, clever performance here from Aldeguer. He was getting everything thrown at him by Gonzalez to get into a scrap, and he just sat tight for a few laps and then figured it out. Once he made it stick, got a few corners behind him and could get a little bit of a gap, then he's just settled into a nice comfortable rhythm and actually stretching out the lead at the front.
Albert Arenas having a decent ride. There's Tony Elias, former Moto2 world champion, and of course Moto America champion Tony. He is now working as a rider coach for Gresini, and I tell you what, with Gonzalez second and Arenas currently in 5th place, it appears to be paying off, because yeah, Albert Arenas sometimes fades quite badly in Moto2 races, but hanging on well here.
Yeah, he's fixing those demons. He definitely has got qualifying dialed. He's able to put it in the first couple of rows of the grid. Managing pace over the full 21 laps hasn't been easy, but he seems to be maintaining a good pace, and you've got to say, Tony Elias has been an astute move for the Gresini team to bring him into the Moto2 garage. It seems to be all working well down there.
And a lovely lad to boot, isn't he, Tony? Great ambassador, great MotoGP rider in his day, of course. Aldeguer through the final corner. He's extending his lead on this lap over Gonzalez. Gonzalez is coming under pressure now from Joe Roberts. When he crosses the line here, 5 laps remaining, another yellow flag in that final corner. It's Marcos Ramirez. Oh no, I thought it was going to be a great day for American racing, great day for the Andalusian, but he's gone down, and just look at him. He stood in the middle of the racetrack here. I've seen this before from Marcos, that he, you know, gets a little bit frustrated, and although he's on the outside of the racetrack, it is still a live track.
Yeah. He's obviously frustrated there, worked hard, made the overtake. Oh, it was actually a little bit of front end chatter that started that one.
And do you know what? I think there is still a little damp area,
yeah,
just about 2 meters offline. Every single crash has been not hugging the curb. I think there is a little bit of a weeper coming through, just seeping up through the asphalt as the temperature comes up ever so slightly. because every single crash that's happened in that corner has just been slightly offline.
The line is actually not on the curb because you pull it back to a second apex, so you drift in, go past to where those weepers are, and then pull it back for a late apex. But yeah, I do think you're right. It looks like there's a little bit of water on the track there.
It's not. Yeah, it's not like a puddle, is it, Michael? It's coming up like the subsoil is obviously sodden. And I'm not going to go into capillary reaction, all these sorts of nonsense. I don't know. I haven't got a clue. I'm not a physics expert or anything like that, or a civil engineer, but I'm sure someone could explain to us what's happening. Can you, Michael?
No. I spoke to Jarno Zaffelli about it, and he explained it, but I cannot remember what the explanation was. There was much too much science going on in that conversation, but yeah, there's a way to remedy it, and obviously they understand, or well, they know what's happening, but frustrating for the riders nonetheless.
Yeah, I was party to that conversation with the track designer from Dromo, Jarno. We spoke to him for about an hour. 59 minutes of it went over my head.
Yeah.
Still, Joe Roberts has maybe just reached the ceiling now. He was 2/10 quicker again than Gonzalez on that last lap, down to half a second. But we are getting to the stage of the race now, 3.5 to go, where they'll be feeling it. They will really feel it on these tyres. Aldeguer's pace also dropped on that previous lap, so Roberts was quicker than him. Let's see if there is any way for Roberts to get another second place. 3 on the bounce would be stunning.
If he gets through on Gonzalez, does that take him to the lead of the championship? I think it'll be
He's already leading the championship.
Is he?
In 3rd place with Garcia behind him now. 2.8 seconds. He's leading the championship as things stand.
Wow. We didn't see that one coming. I definitely didn't.
Not at the start of the year.
No.
But the way he has started, it's like the marriage of himself, the American racing, Pirelli, everything is just all slotted in together perfectly. On board we are with Roberts. Look at the fans there. They're willing on a Spanish 1-2. Rear of Manu Gonzalez. Gonzalez will be able to hear the triumph roar of Joe Roberts. Look at how fast he is in these left-handers. This really is a part of the racetrack he's strong at, Joe Roberts. And again, is he going to be able to make a move down into Nieto corner? Of course he is. Wow. On the inside, just eases past. I'm sure Gonzalez will try the cutback here into turn 10. Yeah, we saw how hard he made life for Aldeguer, but Roberts can now sit him up high on the curb, and he will have to roll out of it. That is just classic Jerez.
Exactly, perfect. He obviously had to pounce immediately if he wanted any chance of catching Aldeguer. I think it's a gap too far, but Gonzalez tried to respond, the back and forth, and then the cutback, finally getting it done for Joe Roberts.
This is incredible what we're witnessing here from Joe Roberts. We've not seen anything like this. He's won a race, he's been on pole, he's battled for podiums, but the consistency of performance we're seeing at the start of this year is superb from the Californian.
Yeah, he's in podium contention on tracks that he's previously really struggled at, not akin to his riding style. It doesn't work well for him, but he's making the difference this season. So yeah, it's fantastic to witness. And obviously the joy inside the American racing camp, where they've got a real challenger for the 24 title.
Couldn't happen to a nicer chap either, could it, with Joe Roberts? Every single time we speak to him, or did that lovely interview with Natalie before, polite, smiling, happy, loving life, and I'm not surprised because he could be about to get a 3rd second place in a row and take the lead at the championship. We're going to have a fourth different winner, it looks like, in 2024 in Moto2. Aldeguer making it 3 Boscoscuro winners, of course, alongside Lopez, who won the opener, Garcia last time, and of course we had Aaron Canet, who's out with a broken ankle after a practice crash. He was a winner back in Portugal on the Calex bike. So Roberts in second, Gonzalez third. Gonzalez would do well here now, just to settle down and collect that third place, collect the podium in front of his home fans. He's going to do everything he can to, of course, get second back from Joe Roberts. But seeing how this track is biting today, it might be a wise thing to pick up that second podium of the year.
Yeah, exactly. He's not had many, Manu Gonzalez. It took him a long time to achieve his first podium, so you don't want to throw it away. Third is still hard-earned. He will be frustrated. He'll try his best, but I just think Joe Roberts has got a little bit more pace than him at this point in the race.
Last lap time then for Fermin Aldeguer. His pace has dropped significantly on this last lap by 7/10, but so has Roberts, so has Gonzalez. They're now in the high 141s, 41.8 from the front two, 41.9 from Gonzalez, and the only people matching that, Tony Arbolino in 7th and Ayogura in 6th, who is also making progress, but they've come to a stop. So 6th and 7th for Agura and Arbolino. They're the only ones as quick as the leaders.
That's good for Tony Arbolino. Ayogura, we possibly expect a little more, to be at least on par with Sergio Garcia, his teammate.
But he started 17th.
Yeah, true. There was a few anomalies on the grid, thanks to those conditions yesterday.
Yeah, but Agura, we know, he's good, isn't he? Late race pace. Aldeguer just playing with it a little bit there. He's riding very, very safe, as you can imagine, on this final lap. And looks like he's about to take victory in his home Grand Prix here in Spain. Aldeguer, who's not from Andalusia, but from along the coast in Murcia. How many good riders coming from Murcia at the moment?
There's a couple, aren't there?
Pedro Acosta, of course, stablemate when they were kids, and he's even able to wave to the crowd with his hand and foot through the stadium, waves to his fan club. Fermin Aldeguer is going to do this one. He's got 2 more corners to negotiate here. This is superb. He won at Valencia at the end of last year. That was a run of 4 in a row. Signed for MotoGP, for Ducati for next year. And Fermin Aldeguer is about to claim his first victory of the season in Moto2. A little wheelie out of the final corner. Aldeguer wins the Spanish Grand Prix for Spain. Joe Roberts makes it 3 in a row with second place. 3 podiums for him on the bounce. Manu Gonzalez takes 3rd. The championship leader, Sergio Garcia, is 4th. He was championship leader before this race, of course. Loses that now to Roberts. Across the line for Arenas in 5th. Agura in 6th. Delight for the American racing team. Who can blame them with another brilliant 3rd podium in the row for Joe Roberts. But a class act today, Michael. Fermin Aldeguer from pole position takes victory in Jerez.
Yeah, he was the man to beat. Obviously, looking at the lap times on Friday afternoon, everyone knew that Aldeguer had the pace. Manu Gonzalez threw everything at him. Once he got to the head of the field, he was just setting a lap time that he was comfortable doing. It was on the limit, it was close, and it was a classy performance once again.
So, Fermin Aldeguer takes his first win of 2024. Pointing himself out to be a real championship contender now. He was the favourite at the start of the year, but he's starting to get there, isn't he? Aldeguer wins from Joe Roberts and Manu Gonzalez. All the reaction and analysis after this break.